Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the One Guy Crew bringing some more videos for you. And today we have yet another Crew Reviews movie. So this is going to be the second movie in the Crew Reviews series, I guess. If you want to see the previous episode, then check out the box right here. Is it still there? Is it still there? I don't know. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, as you could probably tell by the title and the thumbnail, this movie review is going to be of the brand new Men in Black International movie. As you guys know, we have two parts to these crew reviews. The non-spoiler, which is usually very short and to the point, and the spoiler segment, which is where I just discuss the plot in depth, and I discuss the storyline, and I discuss whether I think that it's good or not. So let's get right into the non-spoiler segment, wasting no time. So, how does this movie fare up against its predecessors? Well, I feel like the best way to describe it is it's kind of hard to make a movie with Will Smith in it when you don't have Will Smith in it. They did try to kind of replace him almost with the combination of Agent H, which is Chris Hemsworth, and Agent M, which is that one chick. I feel like Agent H, which is Chris Hemsworth, tries to be more like the sort of Will Smith style, while Agent H tries to be like more of the K, even though she's the newbie, and Agent H is the, older agent, but it's whatever. So yeah, I feel like it does actually kind of hold up a bit well compared to Men in Black 1, 2, and 3. I didn't really like 3 too much. I liked 1. I loved 1. I kind of liked 2, but 3 I didn't like very much, if even at all. So I feel like it's there. It's got a place in there, you know? I just feel like it could have probably been implemented into the storyline and everything better. The characters, they are there. They have some development, although not too much. You really just get, just flashbacks of their lives that help you try to develop the character yourself, I suppose. But yeah, there isn't very much there, and I think that's kind of what I missed in this movie. Even though we didn't really have any character development, hardly, in the last ones, except for Agent K, and when, you would get to see his wife and stuff when he was peeping in on her. But with Will Smith, we didn't really get any whatsoever. It was just Will Smith, which that's all you need, right? You already got the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. What else do you need? And what I think of the storyline and plot, I think that it isn't really all over the place, which I like a lot. The locations are, but I feel like the plot is very straightforward, find what this is. Okay, we found what that is. Now find what this is. Okay, we found what that is. Now find what this is. Okay, we found what that is. And that's what I really like, is that it's not very, all around the place. It's not really static either. But it can feel kind of slow at times. And when seeing the same locations, it can feel a bit, repetitive, I suppose. But all around, it's actually pretty decent, I'd say. Alright, now moving on to the long-ass spoiler part, which is where I describe the plot and scenes, all like that. Starting now, if you would not like to be spoiled from this movie, please exit out or just go to the end and see my final verdict for the movie. Good? Good. Alright, so the movie starts off with, in 2016, in Paris, with Agents H and Agents High T, which might have just been Agent T at that point, because High is for the chairman. I don't think he was the chairman at that point. I think he was like the chairman after what happened. But so apparently there is a alien race that's coming through a portal in the Eiffel Tower known as the Hive. And so they evacuate the people from the Eiffel Tower, and they go in. And the last thing you see is Agents H and Agent High T shooting their guns, their Series D A7s, I believe they were, into the portal, and then just wait. So you assume that they destroyed them. And then what we see next is, a couple just laying down on the couch, and then they hear some scuttling in the back. The dad goes out and he sees what's in the back, and he runs back and he, calls the police. Well, not really the police, but more like pest control. But they get there and it's not actually pest control. It's Men in Black. So they tell him that it was a Tarantadon or something like that. Tarantadon. I don't know, but it's from Andromeda 2. That's all you need to know. It's from Andromeda 2. So then they use their little, they just go, and then boom. But see, the daughter was listening and watching this entire time, and she didn't get affected. Her memory didn't get lost from the flash. But what happens is the alien actually is there with her, and she ends up freeing it and setting it up to safety, and lets it out the window, and it tells her something. I can't forget the actual words because they are alien words. But yeah, and she holds that, and she lets it know her name. And then we cut forward to the future. This girl, Molly, also known as Agent M, is, by the way, Agent H is Henry. So yeah, she is working her little office job at like a tech place, and she's getting loads of information apparently about an alien. I can't actually remember his name. It was like Joey or something like that. It was like it was some like Earth name, I guess. But apparently it's coming back for its babies. There's several news articles about that. I'm coming for my babies. So apparently he has babies on Earth. So Molly tracks down where the signal's coming from, and it turns out that there's like a force field obstructing it that the Men in Black always put up for alien stuff, and it's to it's like a weird bubble thing that hides what's actually inside of it. So she actually knows this. She learns this because she sees birds flying in through it. So she steps inside and she sneaks up and she sees like the spacecraft, and then Joey or whatever his name is. And this is probably my favorite scene in the movie because what he says is just amazing. Like, they're talking to him. They're like, "You came here unregistered, Joey." He's like, I know. Like, "Go do that. Just get in the car, man. We'll escort you to Men in Black." He's like, I just want to see my kids, man." He's just like, I just want to see my kids, man. Me and my buddy Tristan, when we were watching this movie, we just cracked up so hard because we were like, Karen took the kids. But yeah, so that's probably one of, if not my favorite scene in the movie. And what she ends up doing is she actually ends up following the Men in Black cars to the New York facility that we all know and love from all the previous Men in Black movies. And we get the one scene that I would probably be my second favorite. I don't know, just because the dog, Frank, I think that's his name, right? Frank, the dog, he's in there. He's in for one scene. He says like one line. I can't remember what the line is, but it's one line. I love it. So she goes into the elevator with her, suit and stuff like that, trying to sneak in, but she doesn't, and she just ends up getting cast down below. And so then the chairman, I forget her name, but she's the one. She's that one chairman, from Men in Black 3, and so she comes in and starts interrogating her, and she learns that Molly actually knows about these aliens because of her encounter in childhood, right? And she goes through some testing, and she wins over the chairman. And we get a reenactment of the scene from Men in Black 1, where they talk about, erasing your identity and stuff like that from Will Smith. It's like you were never born. Except the music, I don't know, the music in the first one fits so well because it was like so, hard and just earthy. But this one is more like dubsteppy and like, hip-hop, pop-y. I don't know. It's okay, though. It fits. So she gets all suited up, and she gets sent to the London facility to do some probationary work there, because she is a brand new officer. So when she arrives, she sees a bunch of new alien species and stuff, just like the scene from the first one where Will Smith arrives and... Ooh, bless me. So yeah, it was a lot like Men in Black 1, which I really appreciate that part. And then when she gets there, she sort of locks her eyes onto Agent H, or Chris Hemsworth, or Harry, or no, not Harry, Henry. But yeah, so she finds him, and then she's like, "Oh, give me a piece of that." So she ends up, going up to him and talking to him, and she actually overheard his meeting before about so there is this alien that he knows very well. named like Fungus or something like that, Fungus maybe, and he's a member of the royal family of his planet, and they need to protect him. They need to keep him appeased, or else he can destroy the entire planet. So he goes out, and Molly, or Agent M now, I'm just gonna call her Agent M. So Agent M then talks to him and convinces him to let her be his partner on this mission, and we get a flashback of him playing cards and drunk, and like I guess he's trying to get some intel from these aliens. And so what happens is he's playing cards, and then they find out that he's Men in Black, and they don't like that at all. Then they try to kill him, and him being him, Chris Hemsworth, he gets them all, but then he gets bit by this three-headed snake with like loads of venom, and there's only one cure. This lady has it, and then her man's the leader of like the club thing, I guess, he gets bit too. And Agent H, he says, wait, if you give me that cure, I'll give you anything you want. She says, anything? And he says, yes. And then we cut forth to him lying in bed with her. So, I mean, pretty rocking. If you've ever been interested in wanting to see Chris Hemsworth almost naked, then this is your movie, I guess. But yeah, so Agent M and Agent H end up going to this club, and it's like this really cool, weird, like alien nightclub almost. And so they go here, and they start chatting up with the dude. But what happens is that, so earlier on in the movie, we actually see, after the scene of, Chris beating up the dudes, we see a dude mopping up, and then these weird sort of like human-looking like shadow people almost. They look like a living galaxy. They take him. But yeah, they just like take his body and everything involving him, and he just like melts to goo. And they transform into him and copy him. So, we're seeing Agent M and Agent H hanging out with Fungus, and then we see these two aliens come in, and they start learning how to dance, and they're breakdancing their damn heart out. And Agent M's trying to warn Agent H, but something happens, and Fungus even grabs his arm, and his arm starts to glow, and he's like, you've changed, I can't trust you anymore. And so, but then these alien guys, they let out something from their hand, and it goes, and it gets in Fungus. And it gets in his neck, and I think that's the thing to kill him. And it turns out that they actually got that from someplace in Africa. It's this store where it's like a alien sort of weaponry warehouse almost place, kind of. But this dude lets him in, and this is where, if you guys have seen the green guy in any of like the movies, the small little green guy, the guy who has to be blasted with that forgetty thing. Yeah, that's a pawn. So there are several chess pieces, and they want this weapon from them that they can only make, and they're not allowed to make it because they can't kill any of the species that Fungus is part of. And so what we found out those aliens do is they kill all of the pawns and the queen, and they kill everything. But yeah, so they get Fungus out of there, and they get him into a Men in Black vehicle, and they escort him out. But then the Men in Black vehicle fucking explodes, and it just bounces off the damn walls and everything. And so, yeah, that happens. And then the aliens show up, and we get this epic battle scene of getting pulling out like the mirror. They pull it up, and they get their guns out, and they just start shooting them. But these aliens actually have the power to morph solids into liquids and then back again. And it's really cool seeing the effects for this movie. And they're able to like just destroy everything, like the ground, everything. They're able to morph whatever they want to. And then if they can't win a scenario, they just disappear. So yeah, so Agent H starts fending them off while Molly tends to Fungus. And he's like, Agent H has changed. Something about him has changed. I want to know if I can trust you. And he gives her this like little purplish sort of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a little spiky thing. And then he ends up dying. But yeah, so Men in Black gets there. And, they got them all covered, the aliens, and then the aliens just seep into the ground. They just disappear. So then we cut to Agent C, which is this, like, I guess, Agent High T's sort of secretary almost, or maybe just another agent. And Agent H in the office with Agent IT talking about this. And so Agent H is just assigned to go to be at his desk, and Agent M and Agent C are assigned to work together to find out what this weapon that killed Fungus was. And so they do that, but then Agent H just comes along and swoops up the thing, and he just tells Molly to come along, and he just takes a whiff of it, and he knows exactly what it is. He's like, all right, we got to go to, Africa now. So they go there, they go to Africa, and they go to this place that the aliens were, and they see all, like, the devastation. And this is where we meet the little green guy, also known as Pawnee, or just Pawn. So he was a pawn, and since the queen died, this is probably some of my favorite stuff in the movie too. Agent M is his new queen, so he refers to her as my queen. So he is literally like SJW. He's White Knight. He is the green pawn. He is also the White Knight in the movie, but it's a great one. So then they actually find. So they're going off. They're trying to find out more about this, with Pawnee and stuff like that, and they're trying to find a way to, like, escape this. But then the aliens find them, and they start hunting them down. And then Men in Black finds them, and they start hunting them down because they know that they've taken the chemical and whatever was in that killing serum thingy. And so they start running, and they find this guy with this alien beard. Like, it's not a beard. It's just an alien that's on his face that makes him look like a beard. But yeah, so they're making this, like, bike thing, and they just use it, and it can go really freaking fast. So they escape the aliens with it, and they push the red button, and just like what happens in Men in Black 1, they just go, like it's mega fast, like it's like warp speed. And so then what happens is they end up in the desert, where they struggle to survive, and so they fix the bike and everything like that. But then what happens is they find out that the little beard alien has been in their water, all along their little bottle of water, and he takes the bike and he goes off. So then what they do is they start experimenting with things, and they start experimenting. They look at, like, the little spiky thing, and it's starting to shake and glow. And then what happens is it transforms into this gun, and it's a blue giant in a gun. It's literally a star in a gun. And so they experiment with it. It's like that shot from the trailer, where he's like, push the button. He's like, press the button. I want to see if I press the button. And then she does it, and it, like, creates a massive ass hole. Then what happens is that I believe Pawnee designs something to get them out of there. And so they end up leaving the desert. But there is an alien that is talked about throughout the movie named Rizzo. And this was Agent H's girlfriend at one point. He dated her. And she's apparently like she looks like a goddess, apparently. She's like, beautiful. She's like the beautiful alien. So they actually go to Rizzo's Fortress of Death, Mega Death, Super Death, Ultimate Death. And so Agent H sneaks up on there while Agent M is climbing the rocks with Pawnee. And, they got turrets around, so she has to be really careful. So Agent H is trying to convince Rizzo that he's just there to be with her again. But she ain't buying it. She takes him hostage. But yeah, so what Pawnee does is he was actually with Agent H. My mistake. Pawnee was with Agent H all along, and he was like a sort of makeshift gift to Rizzo because she loves, like, beautiful animals, exotic animals. So he was a gift to Rizzo, and she ends up taking him captive, and he escapes, like, his little jar, and it's, like, really cute because, like, she's chasing him around, and she's like, oh, look at your little feet, look at you run, look at you, you're so cute. It was really funny watching that. I was like watching my own dog. But yeah, so he ends up getting on the keyboard, and he ends up disabling everything. So then Agent M is able to climb up the rocks and stuff like that. But then what ends up happening is that they're all taken hostage, and there's this big blue alien, right? But then they have, like, this fight, and you might have seen in the trailer, like, Agent H, like, throwing the hammer and stuff like that. And the alien, the beautiful alien with 3 arms, doing, like, that stuff with Agent M. So they have that big old fight. And then the big blue alien has Agent H at gunpoint. And Agent M is like, wait, what are you? And Rizzo explains that he's, like, a Pterodonian. Something like that. The one from Andromeda, too. And so she repeats to him what that alien told her long, long ago. And he's like, Molly? Is that you? And she's like, yeah, well, what does that mean, by the way? He's like, it means I will kill anybody that you desire as gruesomely as you would like me to. And I'm just like, hell yeah. But yeah, so he ends up pointing Rizzo. He ends up getting Rizzo at gunpoint and getting her to return the weapon to Agent M, which is now just the spiky thing again. So they end up getting to leave, and as they're going down there, the aliens pop up. And so Agent M activates her gun, and she's pointing at them, and she's like, "We will do anything to protect our planet." And their last words were, "Us too." And then Agent Haiti and his squad come out, and they use these like weird electricity guns, and they just zap the things out of existence. So that got you thinking, I guess, a bit. And then there's this big party. It's like the end of the movie, and I thought for a second that it was the end of the movie. But then, Agent C notices something's off, and Agent H does too. So does Agent M. They find something off, and so like they're thinking, oh, okay. They confiscated the weapon too. They got the weapon, and so they went and they asked for the weapon back, and the girl was like, I can't do that. And they were like, why? And she showed the briefcase, and it wasn't there. So they think the worst. And they know what Agent High T is now. And they hear that there is some activity now going on in Paris at the Eiffel Tower. So they go to their car, which is completely destroyed. But they see a new car waiting for them. And it's a Lexus, and it's beautiful. But they unravel it, and it actually has the ability, you press the button, and instead of just having like a speed function, it now turns into an airplane. So they just go over to Paris, and you just go there, and they land. And then what happens is that it's just like the scene from the start of the movie. They get out the guns, they see like the light going into the Eiffel Tower, which is the portal opening, and they go up there, and they see Agent High T there, and he starts talking to him, and he starts telling him everything. He starts trying to win Agent H over, but Agent H realizes that they didn't actually beat the Hive in 2016 with just their wits and their Series D A7s. They didn't beat the Hive because Agent High T is one of the Hive. The Hive took Agent High T over. And so then he proceeds to transform, and they have this big old fight while the portal is opening. And then, Pawnee tries to help a bit, which was really cute. And his name for Agent H in this movie is Jackass. So he starts referring to him by Jackass, and Agent H is like, shut the fuck up. But so they have this big old fight, and they almost lose. The portal opens, and Agent M actually gets thrown into the portal. And this line from earlier gets repeated to her that usually, the universe will find a way to put you in the exact right place in the exact right time. And so she's about to get taken, and then Pony's like, my queen, which is probably my favorite line in the entire movie, just, my queen. And he just boosts her back into the room. And then so she gets back in there, and she activates the weapon, and she's like, and she destroys the Hive and everything in the portal, and it's really cool. But yeah, so now they finally defeated the Hive with their wits, and whatever the hell that gun was, a star, I guess. And the real ending of the movie occurs, where Agent M gets promoted, and Agent H gets demoted and promoted. He's probationary leader. He's like probationary. I think he was just like probationary leader or something like that. But Agent M gets sent back to the New York facility to work there, and Agent H just keeps on working with his squad. And that's about the movie. Oh, and Agent M finally gets one of those flashy forgetty thingies. And roll credits. So yeah, that was the summary of Men in Black International's plot and all that great stuff. So yeah, I watched it with my buddy Tristan, and he thought that it was actually a pretty decent movie. His parents were there too. We didn't know that until after the... So we watched it. We thought that it wasn't like the best movie, not the best Men in Black movie, definitely not. But it was still an entertaining movie. I must admit, I did have some laughs and chuckles there, and he did too, especially at the I just want to see my kids in the Queen part. But yeah, with all that said, now I think it's time to get on to our final verdict. So, I'm going to give this movie the final verdict of a 7 out of 10. Now, I feel like this movie could have definitely been better. There could have been more things that they did I would have loved to see at least like any cameo appearance of Agent K or Agent J. Um, because it hasn't been that long at all. I'm pretty sure like the last movie took place in like what 2013, so I'm pretty sure that they'd still be officers. But yeah, overall, I think it was a decent movie. Definitely a average, if not a bit above average. And yeah, I'd say if you're interested in like any of the Men in Black movies, if you liked Men in Black 3, then you're gonna like this. But if you like Men in Black 1 or 2, I mean, you can go and see it. I saw it in my local IMAX that just opened up, and I must say my local IMAX kind of sucks. Like the IMAX theater, the regular theaters are so much better. I mean, think about it. The IMAX theater doesn't even have our IMAX theater doesn't even have reclinable seats, and our all of our other theaters do. They have little switches that you press. But yeah, anyways, enough rambling. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, comment section down below what you would like to see me do or play for the next episode. And as always, stay awesome, Metal Mars, and my very few awesome possums.